Every Gen X kid watching the news right now. This is true. Or at least it should be. It's Saturday, I'm Akorn, and today we're digging into the Gen X Vault. This week's show is a cleaned up reboot of episode 42. I've started moving the older Gen X videos over to their new home here on AkornTV Live, and honestly, some memories deserve another trip through the VCR. Also, a quick heads up, the next AkornTV live stream Hangout is Tuesday night, June 16th at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Come hang out, join the conversation if you choose to. We'll play some AkornTV prize puzzles and top answers, and prove we can still operate the internet without adult supervision. The Twitch link for the live stream can be found down below in the video description, or if you go to Twitch, just search for AkornTV. With that said, let's get into today's show, starting with this week's AkornTV prize puzzle. The clue is common Gen X injuries, or rather, how or what we got injured by. So drop your guesses in the comments and stay tuned because I'll reveal the answer later on in the show. The face Gen Xers make when hearing millennials and zoomers rave about the music in Stranger Things. Imagine the pizza that this came on. Gen Z.
What the heck? Why would you burn CDs?
Gen X and millennials. That's why context matters. This is how things get lost in translation. Boomers. It feels like we're coming into the days of Soylent Green, and I have one thing to say. You little Gen X, Y, and Z rugrats aren't turning me into a cracker. I think all of us here on the channel can agree with this. Only a few will get this. And the best part is, someone went to all the trouble to make this. How Gen Z sees boomers. How boomers see Gen Z. Well, are they wrong though? Gen X to millennials on the Russian nuclear threat. I was born in the dark. You merely adopted it. Well, with the things that the US and NATO's doing over there, I think this time around, we're all gonna find out. If Gen X was one photo, we just want to be left alone. Your first music lesson is complete. Rule number 1. Look at me when I'm talking to you. If a Gen Xer is complaining, it is already at the acute level, let alone severe or critical stages. Act accordingly. Personally, I'd say this is pretty accurate. Do you guys agree with this? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Boomers, I hate my wife. Millennials, I hate my life. Gen Z, whatever that is. Gen X, they forgot me. Time has been hard on all of us, even Yoda. The photo on the right is the condition of the original Yoda Muppet skin today. Guys, I have to say, this is one of the most disgusting vending machines I've seen. Can you just imagine how many people got sick from this thing? Did any of you actually see one of these machines in person? Phone booth 1984. Phone booth 2024. Fact check true. Remember when Pizza Hut pan pizzas were basically a culinary delicacy? They'd bring them out in real skillets that was piping at 700 degrees Fahrenheit, right as your third song kicked in on the jukebox, after you played a game of Galaga. We were royalty. I can't find the original comment, but a few weeks ago, there was someone that said that they went to their local Pizza Hut recently, and when they brought the pizza out, it was in the old-style cast iron skillets and the old-style red cups. Maybe Pizza Hut has learned who their customer base is today. I might just have to go back and try them sometime. People making memes about generations. Boomers and Millennials. Gen Z. Gen X. To my 30 and up crew, what's hurting today? Well, at the moment, it's my neck. I had a migraine coming on earlier, but I took a bunch of stuff and it's at least lifted halfway. What about you guys? This is the type of pizza that the Ninja Turtles eat. I have to say, that looks pretty good right about now. GoFundMe in 1986. Just look at the design of that push mower. Before the smartphone, we had these. How many people remembers when McDonald's was actually inside the Walmart superstores? Does anyone know if this is still a thing? I know back when I lived in Kentucky, when they built the first Walmart superstore in our town, that there was a McDonald's built into the store. There was also McDonald's just out in the parking lot, along with 3 more McDonald's in my town. I actually had this exact boombox at one point in time. The speaker wires actually wound up on the back, and if you had a shelf or someplace that you wanted to set this permanently, you could unclip the speakers from the stereo and basically turned it more into a shelf stereo system. Most outlawed toys are outlawed because Gen X kids looked at them and said, anything can be a weapon. How many of you grew up using Vicks Vapor Rub? I'd say most of us did. How many of you still use it? If you do, you know what they sell today isn't nearly as good as what it used to be. Back in the day, this was our Disney Plus. And this is really the only Disney that kids should be watching, because the stuff today is garbage. And even back then, there was a lot of things that were hidden in plain sight in some of these movies. Long ago, our cousins were our best friends growing up. Now our children don't even know who they're related to. This is true. Mental illness of yesterday. U.S. military transgenders of today posing with Democrat voters in the background. This was probably the most irrational childhood fear that I had. Well, as far as a swimming pool goes, they might be right. But if they're talking about some of the rivers, like the Mississippi and the Ohio, and even some of the lakes that is near those rivers because of flooding, not many people know, but there is quite a number of bull sharks that is in those rivers and even some lakes. And scientists have found that they're not only surviving, but even reproducing in some of the lakes, even though it's fresh water. And although bull sharks only get to about 10 to 12 feet long, they have fatally attacked a number of people. So just because you're not near the ocean doesn't mean you can't get attacked by a shark. Just a tidbit of information to keep in mind. See, this show is entertaining and educational, maybe even life-saving. Our TVs were never stolen in the 80s. I've had similar memes on past episodes, and there's always people that commented that TVs were indeed stolen. And yes, that's true. However, I guarantee, unlike the lightweight flat-screen TVs that we have today, one guy isn't going to grab this TV here and go running out of the house with it. Don't claim to be a fan of the early 70s Midwest polka if you don't know who this is. John Candy only got paid $414 for his cameo appearance in this movie. If you know the movie, drop it in the comments. Your vote would count as much for him as it would anybody else. When you're older and people text you in abbreviations like GM, well, General Motors to you too. When you hit your 50s, you can only rock and roll some nights and party every third day. Kids exploring ancient ruins. I think we're so obsessed with the 80s because that's when everything was still real. I'd say that that's true in a lot of ways. Dear 70 to 80% of millennials and zoomers, please stop blaming most of the world's problems on boomers and Xers, and stop blindly heeding gender studies garbage. Signed, a fellow millennial. This goes along with some of the things that I've said before, that unlike what the media tries to portray, not all the people of the younger generations go along with the stuff that's being pushed on them. Grocery stores in the early 80s had all glass bottles, no plastic in sight. Kids today don't know how easy they have it. When I was young, I had to walk 9 feet through shag carpet to change the TV channel. That's a fact check true, unless you were sitting right in front of the TV. Clue for today's AkornTV prize puzzle was common Gen X injuries. And the answer is metal bicycle pedals. Yeah, how many times were we riding our bikes and we'd stand up on the bike to be able to pedal faster and your foot would slip off the pedal and it nailed you right in the shin? That hurt every time. If you know what this is referring to, hit a bunch of letters and drop your answer down below. If you recognize this, you're old. It took them almost 500 years, but they finally patched things up between the two of them. Every Gen Xer wanted at least 3 of these rides. Instead of saying which 3 you'd want, what great movie and TV cars are missing from this list? Kids today will never know the pain of copying notes from this. Wherever this was, at least they did have a whiteboard at that point. I kinda wish that Dolly sang 10 to 3 instead. Well, that's not good. And if that wasn't bad enough, look at the box that's missing to the right of it. Today's generation will never understand the things we would do to create our own playlists. I do miss Radio Shack. It's candy corn season for all you crayon-eating psychopaths. I have to agree. I don't know how people eat that stuff. Kmart submarine sandwich exact recipe. These people would take your order, scribble an address down on a paper, and hand it to a delivery driver who would show up at your house in less than 30 minutes. No GPS. They hit different in candy bar size. I had completely forgot about these. This is what I mean when I say I'm sending positive energy your way. If I sent positive energy someone's way, I wouldn't have any left. Only a special kind of person lives through 6 decades. 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, and haven't yet turned 50. Talk about how fast and turbulent things have changed in such a short period of time. For you younger generations that watch these videos, because there's some good Gen Z and Gen Alpha here on the channel, I'm sure you've heard older people say that time will fly before you turn around. And we heard the same things from the older generations too. And trust us when we say, they know exactly what they're talking about. And it's even more true in these days, because things are changing at a much faster rate. The Beastie Boys didn't fight for your right to party, so you could drink White Claw. When you hire a Melissa Etheridge fan to pour your concrete. Some of you will get this. Tim Burton fans waiting for Beetlejuice 2. This is how we used to make juice when I was a kid. I'm sure that some of you won't be able to identify what this is. If you can, you must have a lot of experience. With the way that was phrased, it makes me wonder if whoever wrote this actually knew what this is. The candy bar fundraiser you possibly ate more than sold. Middle age is just walking around all day muttering things like, what was I going to say? Why did I come in here? Did I already take my pills? How did I get this bruise? Why am I sore? Now where did I leave my phone? Well, this is true. I was actually reading the comments the other day, and somebody said something about the pills that we take, and it reminded me that I forgot to take my pills that morning. Christine, 1983. She still looks cherry to this day. That's what happens when a car can repair itself. What's your best memory from high school? The day that I walked out for the last time. I hated school. If you've ever used one of these, you're old. I grew up with these comedians. This is why I don't get offended easily. We don't get offended easily because we grew up in a time where people still had some common sense. And also when the phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, was still reality. The reason these toys are critical as kids. This is definitely true. I mean, who would look at a box spring like that and think there was any way that it could possibly even come close to fitting in that car? When you couldn't afford Memorex brand, these would do. No matter how far I go in life, I'll never be too good for some poverty nachos. I've never heard them called that before, but yeah, I've made these plenty times. Who remembers the geese and bonnet decorations? Actually, as far as I can think of, I don't remember these. How about you guys? I'm this old. It's been 139 years, and Doc is still fresh. I wonder if he can hold his liquor any better. And I'll end the video with this. James Earl Jones, 1931 to 2024. An actor and voice through many years of great movies. There's a lot of big movies that people point out since his passing, but one movie that I remember that I haven't seen anyone mention, and that is The Reading Room. It's a movie I saw back some years ago. and is one that I thought about while preparing the content for this video. Now, it's not an action movie or anything like that, but for many James Earl Jones fans, I think it's one that many people would still enjoy. I have a couple new designs that just dropped in the AkornStash merch store this week. These new designs are available in hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts, and other items. Available now in the AkornStash merch store. You can find the link down below in the video description. For everyone that made it to the end of this video, I'd very much appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And please share this video with your family, friends, and social media, as it really helps out the channel. And what helps even more is if you click on one of the videos shown here. I thank you all for watching. Take care, stay safe. This is Akorn. Over and out.